So, Ali, hi, welcome to a series of conversations, and you're actually the first conversation that I've had in 2021. So, welcome.
Hey, thank
Oh, wow.
you.
Happy New Year, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
So, I know that you're a wellness coach, but rather than talking about straight away about you being a wellness coach, can we take a step back and how did you end up being a wellness coach? Because we don't go to school and leave wanting to be wellness coaches. That's not
No.
what happens. So tell me your story.
Okay, I'll try and share it in a nutshell. It's 24 years in a nutshell. So I left school and went to college, and it was actually while I was 17, 18, I started to experience really bad panic attacks and anxiety attacks after quite a traumatic part of my life. And from college, I didn't go to university because of personal circumstances, even though that's what I really wanted to do. And I ended up throwing myself into a job in IT. So my career was in IT, and these panic and anxiety attacks were still happening, but I didn't talk about it. I didn't share it with anyone really. I threw myself into work, and I had a really successful career. I climbed the corporate ladder really quickly. I'm not going to go into my whole career history, but at the age of 26 in 2006, I actually got up one day to go to work in my suit, in my nice car outside, and I actually just couldn't go to work. I physically couldn't open the front door, and that's when I hit rock bottom, and very quickly went into therapy. Was introduced to this concept of a toolbox, and it was up to me to fill my toolbox with all the tools that make me feel good about me, boost my self-esteem, help me deal with past traumas, and make me basically look after myself. So that all happened very quickly, and that toolbox started to work for me very quickly, and life just carried on. I kind of stopped having anxiety and panic attacks. And for the next 10 years, I traveled the world. I set up my own IT consultancy business with my husband. We got married. I had 2 children. And I look back on my life actually in 2016 when I was pregnant with my second child. And I thought, wow, how did that 10 years actually happen? Because 10 years ago, I was in a very, very dark place. I was very scared. Now I live a relatively anxiety-free, I definitely had no depression. How did that happen? It was my toolbox. I need to share my toolbox with the world. But I was pregnant. So that kind of got put to one side. And then I had Eloise in January 2017. Yeah, she's 4 in a couple of weeks. And shortly, actually the day that she was born, my father-in-law came to see us, and he wasn't very well. Well, within a week, it was between 1 and 2 weeks, he had actually moved in with us, and sadly he died 4 months to the day that Eloise was born. What that did for me though is I'd already kind of started dabbling with Reiki, and I'd done my level 1 Reiki, which is an holistic therapy. And following his death, I've had this bit of guilt that I hadn't helped him as much as I could with the Reiki. And I kind of went through this period of anxiety, if you like, again. But I dealt with it really well. And I thought, right, I need to channel this, and I need to learn something new or do something with it. So I decided to do Reiki level 2. But at the same time, I wanted to get my tools out there and share my tools. So alongside training to be a Reiki practitioner and do my level 2, I also started to write about my tools. And I was sharing my tools on a blog, and I was getting really good positive response. A few people said to me, this should be a book, you need to share this with the world. So I kind of went down that path. And then when I went down that path, I had people approaching me saying, you need to tell me about your toolbox. Can you help me with the toolbox? And I thought, well, I can. But even though in my IT career, I'd done coaching and mentoring just naturally through the work I did, I wasn't a qualified coach. So I decided to go and do some training and some qualifications. And I did all that quite quickly, actually. I was on maternity leave. And I just thought, before I go back to work and own my own business, I'm going to get my qualifications. I'm going to get some experience. And so now I help others. I wrote a book. It led me to become a coach. And now I basically use that book really, and all the content of that book, to kind of develop the coaching. Well, I use that to develop the coaching program. Then in 2019, I nearly hit rock bottom again, following a number of things that have happened in my life. And I was working too hard again. I was still trying to run the IT business, trying to grow my coaching business. And yeah, I went into another really dark place, which was really quite scary with a 3 and 6 year old. Very different to being that 20 something career girl. I was now a mum as well. And I, at one point, thought I shouldn't be a coach. I'm a fraud. Imposter syndrome really took over. I started doing the radio show as well, as I'm a radio presenter and coaching people through radio. And I don't know, I just had this thing that this isn't me, this isn't what I should be doing. And I've basically lost myself for a while there, back in the therapist chair, given more tools. And the outcome of it really is I've now written another book, which I wrote in lockdown.
Wow. So what was your first book called?
So the first book is My Wellness Toolbox, and that contains 26 tools that help me overcome anxiety, but not only help me overcome anxiety, but actually live a really fulfilling and positive life. Really helped change my mindset as well. And then Your Wellness Toolbox, which is the next book, is all the tools that you gave to me by me sharing with you. Because the great thing I love about coaching is when I work with my clients, I discover new tools working with them, because they'll say to me, "Oh, this really worked for me." So then we'll go down that rabbit hole, and it'll be like, "Wow, we've discovered something new."
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very
That's
much.
in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's great. So, what kind of people do you work with?
So at the moment, all my clients are actually, they are all career mums, as I call them. So they're a little bit like me, really. They have really successful careers, and they were very career minded, very career focused. They had children, but they still wanted to maintain the balance between career and mum. But they don't want to bring that kind of the stress and the pressure of career and work into the home, and they're trying to get the balance, and they want to look after themselves while maintaining everything else. So the majority of my clients are mums who work in business.
Okay, and how do your clients find you?
All of my clients are word of mouth, actually. I mean, I have obviously got, I do the marketing, but they've all come on recommendation, and all of them have read the book and gone, they resonate with me, and they think, right, she's managed to do it. How can I do it?
Yeah. You're probably not aware, I wrote a book last year called A Coaching Business in a Book, which is our entire mentoring process in a book. And now almost everybody I speak to that's interested in joining the coaching revolution has read the book. It makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Well, in fact, one of the first things I do, I always give a 15-minute kind of consultation. If you're interested, give me a call, we'll have a chat. It always lasts more than 15 minutes. And I always say, read the book and see if it resonates with you. Because most of the women that come to me, although I will work with men, and I have worked with men, I've worked with an 11-year-old boy, they tend to come to me because they have an issue with nerves, or they've got a big event coming up, and they just want to make sure they go into it with the right mindset, or they struggle with anxiety, because the book is ultimately the tools that help me with anxiety, but it just helps me with so much more as well.
Are they actual books or are they Kindle books?
Both. So the actual book, it's on my desk at all times. That's My Wellness Toolbox. So that's at the paperback, because I like myself. I just like to, you have to. But everyone that's read the book says what's great about it is you can wake up in the morning and say, okay, what tool do I need to use today? Because you don't actually need to read it cover to cover. And then the next book, which actually is, I've been told by the publisher today I'll have the copy in my hand on Thursday, is also a paperback but ebook. And actually, My Wellness Toolbox is an audiobook as well.
Oh, brilliant. Did you record it?
Yeah, I recorded it through Solihull Radio, who I didn't actually work for them at the time. I'm a volunteer for Solihull Radio. I didn't volunteer for them at the time, but they interviewed me because I was a local girl that had written a book, and they offered to record it for me as a audiobook. So it's actually on Podbean and Spotify and things like that, through as a podcast.
Yeah, brilliant. So what next?
Well, obviously the next book's coming out. My whole focus at the minute is around, well, was meant to be around launch events at John Lewis in Solihull. That's obviously all been postponed. So I'm currently working on a launch party, which is actually going to be open to everybody on the 28th. It's going to be an evening of entertainment, actually. I thought that's what everyone needs, just music, laughter, and obviously in between I'll be talking a bit about the contents of the book. But what I really want to do over this next year is really grow the coaching side of my business. Because I'm a bit of a coach with a twist, because I also offer holistic therapy alongside the coaching. You can either come to me for holistic therapy, which is Reiki and a little bit of crystal healing. That's the bit of woo-woo that I am. Or you can come to me and do typical kind of life coaching, I guess. And we obviously look at your self-care and your well-being. Often it leads down into career coaching, because I work with so many career ladies. But what I really want to do is grow that side of the business, because it's the most I'm most passionate about. I do a lot of online group coaching, but I really want to get into the one-to-ones, and also more the one-to-ones in the workplace, because I do workplace workshops, and I talk very much to like groups of people. And I think there's, I love doing all of it, but I often want to just jump into the screen and pick out the one person that I can sense needs that extra attention and that extra support, and I just know how much they could grow. But it's jumping into that screen and getting them. That's what I really want to focus on in the next 12 months.
Brilliant. Now, to slightly change the subject, but because literally the globe's talking about it, you said something interesting to me. I hope you don't mind me picking up on this. You said something interesting to me when we first got onto this call. You said, just having a bit of a meltdown, actually, because I've been homeschooling. So we're on day 3 of the... No, we're not. We're into week 2, aren't we? God, are we into week 2?
Week 2, day 2, to be precise.
Not that you're counting.
Although on the actual stuff that's come through the school, they're calling this week 1. Last week was week 0. This is week 1.
Right. Okay, that's cool. So you are a mum who is homeschooling.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. How's that going?
It's really tough. It is really tough. And I have got 2 children. Thomas is 6 and Eloise is 3. Eloise goes to nursery, so I've kind of accepted that really I only have to do homeschooling in the morning for her. And actually, I didn't legally have to put her into nursery if I don't want to anyway. So we're doing a lot of colouring. Eloise is doing a lot of colouring. And I even, she's had scissors in her hands today, so I'm sure that's been good for something. But with Thomas, he's 6, and Thomas is a really keen learner. I'm actually one of those, I'm lucky in that sense, because he wants to do the timetable. He wants to do what the teacher has set, and he's eager to learn. But he also has an imagination, so his mind wanders. So he wants to sit there and do his English, but he also at the same time wants to think about 100 and other things and talk about those as well.
He's 6.
A bit like his mother.
He's 6. He's 6. He's allowed to do that. That's what you do.
Exactly. So we sit down and we try and do this work, but some of the work, an imperative verb. I've got an English language A-level, and I was like, an imperative verb. It's like going back into the archives. I'm having to Google things, and he's telling me he knows more than I do. So trying to do that though. So I'm trying to sit there, and we've got the timetable, but in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I've had someone contact me and ask me some questions about the services I offer. Need to call them. And I've got like my to-do list is whirling. Now, normally that would be just happening for me because I'd be sitting there doing my day job, but I'm now having to do that in the evenings because that's what we've decided with me. Matt's, my husband's, working in the day, I'm working in the evenings, and I'll homeschool during the day as well. But yeah, it's trying to switch my mindset from, okay, this is Thomas's schooling time. This emails and your phone beeping and your phone ringing, you're going to have to park till later in more unsociable hours. And I'm thinking, well, what if that person doesn't want to speak to me at 8 o'clock? It's all these things going around. So the end of last week, I wasn't doing very with it brilliantly. Yesterday, I had my meltdown. Today, I've just thought, right, I'm going to make sure every morning is school time. And then in the afternoons, if school time does blur into work time, that's okay, because at least Thomas has had some schooling every single day. Whereas yesterday, I was trying to be the perfect of everything. It's not going to work.
Give yourself a break, Ali.
Exactly. And Thomas as well, he'll just go off and read a book as well. You know, he's so good. And I do really feel for the parents whose children are at home, and because they're at home, they're not at school, and their mindset can't, they just have no concentration at all.
I think it, well, from the sort of people that I'm kind of reading what they're posting online, and people that I know with younger children, because my children are grown-ups now, mine are 24 and 19, but I've got a friend who's got a little girl in reception who's an only child, and what she's struggling with is the isolation. The little girl struggling with the isolation, but I want my friends, and I want to play out, and I want to go and it's a hard time. We are all having a hard time. And one of the things that I remember, in fact, I got interviewed on an American TV show because I expressed this opinion on LinkedIn, and some journalists picked up on it, is that we're not teachers. Well, actually, I am a teacher, but the majority of mothers are not teachers. And yet, at the beginning of the last lockdown, I know some of my friends will be posting pictures of the classroom that they'd assembled. And, you know, right, we're going to do this, and here's this classroom, and they've put up a whiteboard, and it's like, give yourself a break. This is not homeschooling. Homeschooling is a choice. Homeschooling is a big decision for a family to make. This isn't homeschooling. This is containment. And I think, I say we all, I'm counting myself as a mum here, we need to give ourselves a break. We're not Mary Poppins.
Last night, my husband actually came down, and when he heard he was like, okay, what's been going on down here? And he said, let's just not do the homeschooling. I said, no, we can't not do it completely. He said, well, let's just get, as you would say, like he says to me, you know, as you would say, let's bring the balance back then. What are we going to cut out here? And Thomas wanted to do the timetable. So I've kind of withdrawn the timetable because he wanted it in his book. And then I've literally gone through it and said, and come up with alternatives for him. So if he wants to go and do PE and run around in the garden, that's PE, that's his PE, and he's done it, if that makes sense. So we've it's like, let's stop trying to do it all and put that much pressure on. I think for me as well, because I was able to rearrange my clients to the evenings, I felt like, I can do schooling in the day and work with my clients in the evening. It's fine. I really enjoy that anyway. I'm quite bored in the evenings, if I'm honest. So the kids are gone to bed, and it'll stop me just watching Corrie. I can work with my clients. But the reality is that, you know, in the coaching business, it's not just about working with your clients. There's phone calls, there's emails, there's I'm obviously launching a book at the moment, so there's a lot of noise, I hate to call it that, but you know what I mean, around that. So actually, it's made me really appreciate how busy I actually am, even when I don't have clients in the day. I'm constantly on the go, and then trying to do that with homeschooling. So I'm learning lessons third lockdown along, because first time round we actually had my mum living here with us because she was shielding and she'd had an accident and needed care. So we had a lot more support. Eloise was younger, wasn't in nursery. So we didn't have that homeschooling of nursery stuff as well. And my husband had actually taken some time off work. So this time around wasn't the same as last time. We had last time round, our whole experience has changed. And I think this time it's hit us a little bit harder.
Yeah. I think I was talking to, I belong to a group coaching cohort, as in I am in the group. I'm not coaching it, I'm in the group. And it's something that's been going on for quite some time. And this group of 4 women have become a very tight-knit group of people outside of the coaching cohort. And we were talking last week, and one of our numbers said, I am finding this really bloody hard. I don't quite know why I'm finding it so much harder than I have previously. And one of the things that occurred to me was, lockdown last year, I remember saying, thank God it's at this time of year with this gorgeous weather and the nights getting lighter. And can you imagine what this would be like if it was in the middle of winter? It'd be bloody awful. And here we are. And it makes a difference. It does make a difference. The dark adds to, I mean, in the UK, it's dark by about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I do think the weather is playing a big part in it. You've just said it there, you know, with when it's the summer, we were outside and it was a glorious summer as well. We had that lovely summer and the spring. Well, it was the summer was in the spring, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we've got like the swings and things out for the kids. The kids were constantly outside. I would be able to sit there while they were swinging and playing, and do my work on my like the sun chairs that we've got. Like this time you're in a, you kind of, you just feel like you're locked in and you're in the room and you say, oh, should we go outside and get some fresh air? Oh no, it's too cold. And yeah, it doesn't feel as, this is going to sound, the first time round it did feel more, we were given a chance to take some time out. Even though we were working, it did feel a bit all-inclusive holiday, a little bit for us. This time round, it feels like we need an all-inclusive holiday.
Yeah. I think the first time round, even though it was tough, and I absolutely appreciate it was tough for people who were living on their own.
Yeah, definitely.
It was kind of like, it was a bit of an adventure, and the weather was lovely, and you could go out for a walk, and all right, you had to stay with your family, but you know, and it was like, oh, this is really cool. This is really cool. This is not cool anymore, because what everybody's trying to do now is make life carry on in that artificial lockdown situation where actually life can't carry on. It can't, because you're in a box that's artificially heated and lit with your entire family. It's basically, it's a pressure cooker, isn't it? We're all living in pressure cookers at the moment.
Definitely. And it is about learning how to adapt, but we are literally in week, what we just said it, what date did it start? Was it the 4th or the 5th? And it's now the 12th. And those pressure cookers are going off this week. And you can tell that on social media. I did a post last night just with a scream. Just saying, because I think I post every single day in the Your Wellness Toolbox group. I give them a tip or tool for today, and I try and call upon my lived experience to help them. And I think people probably look from the outside in and think, oh, well, she's a coach, she's got it covered, she's got the tools. So I do like to show up and say, I've really struggled today. This was really hard. But my message was, don't go to bed with the tough day. Let the tough day stay where it's, you know, let it be the past. Go to bed and try and wake up today and have, I'm not saying you're going to have a tough free day, but just even if it's a little bit less tough, it will help with your mindset and your mental health and your well-being. And that's my whole, everything I do is about what are the tools you can use. So last night it was, I took myself out of the family situation, came into my office, put some music on and focused on work that I really enjoy, which was planning the radio show. And that just flipped me, that switched me. And I went back out, had cuddles, and everyone was fine. And we all went to bed slightly happier.
Family are happy.
Trying to be anyway.
Yeah, I heard something once, it's a long time ago, and I don't even remember where I heard it, but it was something that made me reassess the way that I viewed things, and it changed my mindset. And that was, it was a post on social media, but I can't remember for the life of me who shared it. And it was about 10 years ago. Somebody said, have you really had a bad day? Or did you have a bad 5 minutes and you milked it all day?
Yeah, exactly.
And that, if we're honest with ourselves, 9 times out of 10, it's a bad hour that we're still bitching about 6 hours later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Or there was a phone call that you had and you've just let that overtake you for the rest of the day, and you're running that phone call through your head constantly. Whereas actually, did you have a bad day? I'm sorry?
Somebody says something in just the wrong tone.
Yeah. So have you had a bad day, or have you had a bad phone call that led you in then to manifest more negativity, really? And I think if you can, in that, like you just said in that moment, go, actually, has it been a bad day? Or was it just a bad phone call? Sometimes it is a bad day. Sometimes it is just, you do have those horrendous days. But you're right. Sometimes it is that bad 5 minutes of a bad phone call or that bad conversation. And it's like, okay, I think even when you just process that, that helps.
Yes.
And you go, actually, today's been okay. Oh, I'm going to go to bed a little bit happier than I was 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, it is that acknowledging Well, I suppose the bottom line is none of us is perfect, and it's always very easy to sit and look around and think everybody else has got it better than you, or easier than you, or it's all right. One of the things that people say to me, which drives me to distraction when we're talking about marketing, coaching businesses, they say, it's all right for you, Sarah, because it's easy for you. And I'm like, it hasn't always been easy for me. It's easy for me because I've worked really, really hard at it. And I think it's easy to do that, isn't it? Like you said, oh, it's all right for you because you're a coach. It's like, well, I'm a human being. And then after that, I'm a mom and a wife and a sister and a daughter and a daughter-in-law and a granddaughter. And then somewhere down the line, I'm a coach.
Yeah.
It doesn't come first.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when I worked in the IT industry, and a female in the IT industry, and in my 20s, I did climb the career ladder really quickly. And I would have even close friends say, oh, you're so lucky, because I'd get a pay rise. And I did climb really quickly, and I got, I was earning really good money for my age. And oh, you're so, you always land on your feet, don't you? But at this point, I had crippling anxiety. Yeah, I was showing up every day at work, and I was the party girl. And from the outside looking in again, I looked like I had it all, the perfect salary, the great job, the career, but inside I was struggling. So when people were saying to me, oh, you're so lucky, you land on your feet, they didn't really know what was going on inside. And I was actually on the verge of breaking. So I always say to people, you do not know what is really going on behind closed doors in somebody's head or with somebody's lives. I wear my heart on my sleeve, or so my friends thought. I don't. I show people back then. I showed people what I wanted them to see.
Game face. You keep your game face on.
And I always say as well about social media, it's one of the tools in my toolbox is, the media, turn it off. If it's not making you feel good, then don't use it, don't watch it. And when it comes to social media, people, you see posts on social media saying, oh, I'm sick of seeing people putting nice things on, people are going through a real tough time, they should be showing this. And I think to myself, well, why not? Everyone should have the right to put what they want on social media. If it triggers you or it doesn't make you happy, unfollow them, or just don't go on social media, because it is actually your issue, not theirs. But I also say, be kind from all, no matter who you are, where you're from. If you're putting something on social media and you're bragging about the fact that something amazing's happened to you, and it's the opposite of what's going on in the news at the moment, you're probably not going to get good press for that. But if you've got a new car and you're proud of it because that's your success and it was going to help you in your mindset to show it on social media, you should be allowed to show your new car without getting abuse from people saying that you're showing off. I don't know, it's just, I always think, just be kind to each other. Another tool.
If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. That thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I saw one of my kids had a T-shirt that said, if you can be anything at all, be kind.
Yeah.
And another version of that I saw, which I thought was even better, and this is quite a good place to end, was don't be a dick, because the world doesn't need more dicks. And I thought, that's true.
My favourite is be kind to the unkind, they need it most.
There you go. There you go. And we have been talking for 30 minutes, Ali.
No way. Oh, God, that goes so quickly, doesn't it?
Didn't I tell you that you would say that to me? Now, we've got your website scrolling across the bottom of the screen. So if people want to find you, they can go to aliswift.co.uk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. Ali, thank you so much for sharing your story with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time and giving me this opportunity.
You're very welcome.